My son got drunk at a family meet and told everyone I was just the useless widow. The whole room laughed. I walked out, leaving a stunned silence behind me. My name is Helen Marwick, 61. I had shown up to the family meet in Gresham because Jason asked me to. He said it would be good for me, that everyone wanted to see me. I did not expect the night to split open the way it did. The room was loud with the kind of laughter people use to pretend they still like each other. I stayed near the edge, holding a cup of ginger ale and trying not to feel out of place. Jason had already had too much to drink. I could see it in the way he leaned on every surface, his smile a little too loose. He stepped into the center of the group, raising his plastic cup like someone giving a speech no one asked for. And then he pointed at me. "That's her," he slurred. "That's just the useless widow. She never did anything after Dad died." The words hit me before the room reacted. Then the sound swelled all at once, laughter, loud and rolling, the kind that makes you feel smaller by the second. Someone said, "He's not lying," and another clapped like he was proud of Jason for saying it. I felt my fingers tighten around the cup until the plastic bent. Jason's girlfriend tried to tug at his sleeve, but he brushed her off. Still laughing, my sister avoided my eyes. My brother-in-law smirked into his beer. It was as if every person there had been waiting for someone to say it out loud. I set my cup down on the nearest table because my hand had started shaking. I remember thinking the air in the room felt heavy, like it was pushing me out. I did not speak. I did not defend myself. I simply walked toward the doors while their laughter kept rising behind me. Outside, the night air felt cold enough to sting. I had parked 2 blocks away, and each step felt like I was walking out of a life I had carried for too long. My phone buzzed in my bag. Jason again, probably laughing, probably saying it was just a joke. I did not check. I drove back to my apartment in Southeast Portland with the sound of their laughter lodged deep inside me. The humiliation stayed sharp, but something else was forming under it, a slow, steady shift I could not name yet. It would start unfolding the next morning, when I finally let myself think about the years that led me to that moment. I was 56 when Mark died. One moment we were arguing about whether to replace the old washer, and the next, I was standing in a hospital hallway being told he was gone. The world didn't go silent, it just thinned out. Like sound had to travel farther to reach me. People came in waves those first weeks. My sister Carla brought casseroles and pitying looks. My parents kept saying, "You're strong, Helen." Like strength was something you could pick up off the counter. Jason tried to help, but he was 24 and drowning in his own grief. Most days he sat on my couch, silent, holding Mark's old fishing hat. "Mom, I don't know what to do." He told me once. "I don't either," I said, and that was the truest thing I'd spoken in months. Eventually, the visit slowed. People went back to their own routines. Grief made me quieter, but loneliness made me efficient. It's strange how fast paying bills and cooking dinner can become a kind of survival rhythm. I kept going because stopping felt dangerous. I picked up extra hours when I could, mostly to stay busy and avoid thinking. At home, the silence settled like dust on furniture I never sat on. When Jason called to say he needed help with rent, I didn't hesitate. When my sister mentioned an overdue medical bill, I transferred the money before she finished explaining. My parents' roof started leaking, so I paid half. It felt easier to handle their problems than face my own. "You always know what to do," my mother told me once. "No," I said quietly. "I just don't want anyone else to fall apart." Somewhere in those years, I became the dependable one, the person everyone leaned on, the person who said yes because no one else would. And without noticing, I folded myself smaller and smaller until there wasn't much left besides the responsibilities I carried. That was the life I walked back into the night. Jason laughed at me, one built on years of quiet sacrifices. Stacked so neatly I forgot they had weight. Jason changed after Mark died. And not in the loud, dramatic way people expect. He just dimmed. He moved through the apartment like someone walking underwater. Slow and heavy, his eyes fixed on things that weren't there. "Mom, I'm trying," he'd say, rubbing his face like he was exhausted from holding himself together. "I know," I'd answer, even when I wasn't sure he believed it. He quit his job at the hardware store 2 months after the funeral. Said he couldn't focus. Said the hours were too much. I didn't argue. When his rent came due, he called late at night, voice cracking. This once became every winter. Then most summers too. Even the Thanksgiving groceries were ordered using my saved card, automatically, without any conversation. One November afternoon, my phone pinged with a receipt from a grocery delivery service. I called Tessa immediately. "Why is $200 for a turkey and sides charged to my card?" "Oh," she said, cheerful and distracted. "The app saved your info from last year. I thought you wouldn't mind." Once, after I transferred money for a past due utility bill, he whispered, "I'm sorry you have to keep rescuing me." "I'm not rescuing you," I said gently. "I'm helping you stay afloat." He didn't say anything after that. He just looked away. His girlfriend, Mara, entered the picture around then. She was kind in the beginning, nervous around me, always thanking me for helping Jason get back on his feet. She tried pushing him toward steady work. But grief has a way of sticking to a person long after everyone else thinks it should fade. "Jason, you can't keep leaning on your mom," she told him one night when I dropped off groceries. He snapped, "You don't get it." And I stepped in like I always did. "It's all right. I've got it." I told myself I was supporting him. But every yes tied another knot around both of us. Nothing he leaned on ever pushed back. Nothing ever asked him to try harder. I carried the weight because I couldn't bear to watch him fall. Jason's dream showed up on a Wednesday afternoon. The kind of day when I was already tired before noon. He called out of nowhere. "Mom, I have an idea," he said. Breathless. A real one this time. I heard something in his voice I hadn't heard in years. Hope struggling to lift itself. "What kind of idea?" I asked. "An auto detailing shop in Gresham. My friend Evan knows someone selling equipment cheap. I just need a loan to get started." The pause that followed was long enough for both of us to hear what he wasn't saying. "Jason, how much?" "About $20,000. And the bank requires a co-signer for my son's limited credit history." I felt that familiar tug, the one that always pulled me toward fixing things. "You want me to sign with you?" I said quietly. "I'll pay it back." He rushed. "I swear, this is my chance." "Mom?" Mara chimed in then, her voice soft but urgent. "He really needs this. Helen, he's good at this stuff. He just needs a start." Hope and desperation sound almost identical. I told them I'd think about it. I didn't sleep that night. By Friday, I was sitting in a loan officer's office, signing my name beside his. The papers felt heavier than they should have. Jason hugged me outside the building. Arms tight, face pressed against my shoulder. "You won't regret this," he said. But the months that followed stretched thin. The business opened, but money trickled instead of pouring. Rent on his little Gresham shop fell behind twice. "Just cover it until we're steady," he pleaded. And I did. Then came the apartment for him and Mara. I provided the deposit and first month, as the landlord required co-signed proof. "My mom can vouch for us," Jason told him before I even arrived. I ended up paying the deposit, then the first month's rent, then half the utilities when things got tight. Each time Mara said, "We'll make it up to you." She said it like a promise to herself. I never kept track of what I gave. I just kept stepping in whenever something slipped. He never saw the scaffolding I built beneath him. Maybe he thought it was the ground. The morning after the family meet, my phone lit up before I even opened my eyes. Jason had sent 8 messages. "Mom, it was a joke. You always get too emotional." I didn't respond, holding my silence for the first time. Each line tightened something in my chest. I read them twice, hoping I'd misunderstood the tone. I hadn't. A ninth message came in while I stared at the screen. "Can you at least say something?" I typed 3 different replies before deleting each one. Anything I said would be twisted into me being sensitive or dramatic. I put the phone down and tried to make coffee, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. 10 minutes later, Mara texted, "Helen, he didn't mean it. You know how he gets when he drinks." I didn't respond. Another message followed. "Honestly, it embarrassed Jason that you walked out like that. People thought you were overreacting." Overreacting. The words settled like a bruise. The group chat buzzed next my sister. "My brother-in-law. 2 cousins?" Carla wrote. "Jason was out of line, but he was grieving. You know that." My cousin Tara added, "He was just being honest. No need to get so upset." My brother-in-law sent a laughing emoji and said, "Let's all relax. It's family." I felt something in me loosen, not in relief, but in release. They truly didn't see it. Any of it. All the years of stepping in, carrying them, paying for things quietly so no one fell apart. None of it mattered. Not enough to earn a moment of protection. Not enough for anyone to say, "That was cruel." Jason finally called. I let it ring. He tried again and again. When I didn't answer, he sent one more message. "You're making this a lot harder than it needs to be. Just say sorry for storming out. Sorry for leaving the room where he humiliated me." I set the phone face down on the counter, its buzzing echoing through the kitchen like a reminder of everything I'd allowed myself to tolerate. The first cut had been his words. This, though this quiet chorus telling me to accept it was the second one, and it was the one I felt the deepest. I woke before the sun, the apartment still and dim. My phone sat on the counter where I'd left it, face down. Silent for the first time since the night everything cracked. I didn't reach for it. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad and a pen, the old kind with blue ink that always smudged a little. My hands were steady for the first time in days. I wrote one sentence at the top. "I don't owe anyone my life." Then I opened my laptop. The loan documents for Jason's shop were buried in my email. It took a few minutes to find them, long enough for doubt to flicker. But the moment I clicked the folder, that flicker went out. My name was stamped on every page, guarantor. Emergency contact, responsible party, all the roles he never acknowledged. I drafted an email to the bank. "My circumstances have changed." I knew the reassessment could take days, but the first step was mine. The loan officer responded faster than I expected. "There will be a reassessment process," he warned. "It may affect the borrower's standing." "I understand," I replied. Next came the auto-pay accounts. I disabled each one carefully, spacing the changes to avoid immediate chaos. A little confirmation box would pop up. "Are you sure?" "Yes," I whispered each time. By the time I reached the landlord's number, my chest felt lighter. I dialed, expecting the usual tightness in my throat. "Hi, this is Helen Marwick," I said. "I need to update some information on the file for Jason Marwick and Mara Ellis." The landlord sighed. "Are you stepping back from the payments I am?" "Well," he said, "then I'll need proof of income from them." "That's fine." The last thing I did was open the shared emergency account, something I'd created after Mark died, because I was terrified of Jason crashing too hard. I clicked remove access. My laptop asked for confirmation, like it needed one more chance to make sure I knew what I was doing. "I do," I told it. When everything was done, the kitchen felt strangely quiet, as if the walls were listening. I closed the laptop and rested my hands on the table. They weren't shaking. Jason would notice soon, and for the first time, the weight of that didn't scare me at all. The first call must have hit Jason around mid-morning, because by 11 my phone was vibrating nonstop. I didn't answer. I was folding laundry, moving slowly, breathing evenly, letting the buzzing fade into the background. At 11:30, he finally left a voicemail. His voice cracked between anger and panic. "Mom, the bank just called. They said something about a reassessment. What did you do? Why would they call me like that?" A second voicemail followed. "They're saying the loan might change. I don't understand. You're on the paperwork. You're supposed to be on the paperwork." By noon, Mara texted, "Helen, the landlord emailed us. He wants updated income verification. What's going on? He says your information is no longer attached." I didn't respond. Then she tried again. "Jason's freaking out. Please don't do this right now. The timing is awful, awful timing." As if there had ever been a good time to remind them they were adults. At 1, Jason called again. When I still didn't pick up, he switched to messages, each one sharper than the last. "You can't just walk away from your responsibilities. The shop can't survive this. You're ruining everything I've worked for. The words stung more than the shouting. Another message came, shorter, more raw. "Mom, I can't lose this place. I can't start over again." By late afternoon, Mara tried a different angle. "He's scared," she said when she finally called from her number. "You know how hard things have been for him." "I do," I said. My voice stayed calm. "But hard doesn't mean I have to carry it." There was a long pause. "You should have warned him." "I warned him every time I fixed something he broke," I said gently. Jason's final message arrived as the sun was setting. "I need you. We can't do this without you." I set the phone down and let the words settle. The shift had begun, long before he realized it. For the first time in years, the weight rolling toward him wasn't mine to stop. Jason insisted we meet in person, like adults. So I agreed to meet him at a small coffee shop near his place. When I walked in, he was already pacing. Eyes red, hands shaking. Mara sat beside him, arms crossed tight. He didn't wait for me to sit. "What the hell are you doing?" he snapped. "You pulled your name from the loan. The landlord's threatening paperwork, and you won't answer your phone." "I'm here now," I said quietly. "That's not the point," he shot back. "You blindsided me," Mara added. "You created chaos for both of us." I set a folder on the table. "This isn't chaos. It's clarity," Jason scoffed. "So you just quit after everything I've been through." "You've been through a lot," I said, "but that doesn't mean I have to carry your whole life." "You're my mother," he said, voice rising. "You're supposed to help me." "I have," I replied, "for years." He opened his mouth, shut it, then tried again. "You don't understand how bad things are. I do," I said. "That's why I need to step back. If I stay, nothing changes." Mara leaned forward. "You should have warned us. I warned him every time I paid something he promised he'd handle." Jason thumped his palm on the table lightly. "You're abandoning me." "No," I said softly. "I'm asking you to stand." He stared at me like I was speaking another language. I slid the folder toward him, loan documents, payment history, copies of bills I'd covered. "This is what I've done," I said. "This is what you need to take responsibility for." His anger cracked then, just for a second, revealing fear underneath. "You can't expect me to do this alone," he whispered. I stood. "You were never alone. You just never learned how to stand without leaning." I walked out before he could answer, leaving the folder between them on the table. The messages started early the next morning. I was making tea when my phone buzzed 3 times in a row. "Mom, the landlord says we're behind 2 weeks. He won't wait anymore." Another message followed before I finished reading the first. The bank called again. "They're reviewing the business loan. They said something about unstable guarantees." Then a voice note, his breath shaking. My hands tightened around the mug. "Mom, I don't know what to do. Mara's freaking out. I'm trying, I swear. Just call me back, please. I didn't. I sat at the table, hands wrapped around the warm mug, and let the silence settle. More messages came. If the loan changes, the shop can't survive. We can't cover the rent. Why would you leave us like this? Then finally, Mom, I'm scared. I can't lose everything again. It was the first honest thing he'd said in days. Mara tried too. He hasn't slept. She wrote, he keeps saying he failed you. He didn't fail me, I replied. He just never learned to stand without me. She didn't answer. Jason sent one last message that night. Just tell me what to do. I'll listen this time. I set the phone down. His fear was real, sharp, and heavy, but it wasn't mine to carry anymore. Weeks passed before Jason reached out again. His message was short. I'm handling the loan. The landlord worked with us. I'm trying. Mom, no excuses, no blame, just honesty. I replied, good, keep going. My days settled into something calm. I began volunteering twice a week at the senior center serving meals, chatting with people who carried their own quiet histories. On Saturdays, I drove out to Cannon Beach, letting the wind pull the heaviness out of my chest. One afternoon, while I was sorting books for donation, Jason called. His voice was steadier than it had been in months. Hey, Mom, he said, I wanted to tell you I'm figuring things out. For real this time. I'm glad you are, I said. I know I made things hard. We both did. I answered. But you're doing the work now. We didn't dig into the past. We didn't rush anything. The space between us finally felt healthy instead of hollow. That night, I sat at my little kitchen table with a cup of chamomile tea and felt something I hadn't felt in years, Freedom. If you've ever had to choose yourself after choosing everyone else for too long, remember it's never too late to step back.